The ability to focus deeply without distraction is becoming one of the rarest skills in today's world and one of the most valuable. Those who master deep work won't just become more productive, they'll create extraordinary careers while everyone else remains distracted. Introduction. Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering that you have a superpower. Not the ability to fly, not super strength, not invisibility. A far more powerful ability. The ability to sit down, focus on one important task, and give it your complete attention for just 2 hours. Sounds ordinary. In today's world, it is almost a superpower. Because everywhere you look, people are distracted. A notification appears. You check your phone. An email arrives. You switch tasks. A message pops up. You reply immediately. 5 minutes later, you forget what you were originally working on. Hours pass. You feel busy, exhausted, yet strangely, you haven't accomplished anything meaningful. Does this sound familiar? If it does, you're not alone. Modern life has trained us to confuse activity with productivity. We celebrate people who answer emails instantly, who attend back-to-back meetings, who reply to messages within seconds, who multitask all day long. But Cal Newport asks a powerful question. What if everything we've been taught about productivity is wrong? What if the constant interruptions, the endless notifications, the addiction to social media, and the habit of switching between tasks are quietly stealing our greatest potential? This book argues exactly that. It says the people who will thrive in the future won't necessarily be the smartest. They won't necessarily have the highest IQ. They won't necessarily work the longest hours. Instead, they'll possess one rare skill: the ability to work deeply, to focus without distraction, to produce work so valuable that it becomes almost impossible to replace them. In a world that rewards shallow attention, deep focus becomes a comparative advantage. And that's exactly what this book will teach us. What is deep work? Imagine a master sculptor standing before a massive block of marble. For hours, nothing distracts him. No phone, no notifications, no unnecessary conversations. Every movement is intentional. Every strike of the chisel brings the masterpiece closer to life. Now imagine trying to sculpt while someone interrupts you every 30 seconds. Impossible. Yet that's how many of us try to do our most important work. Cal Newport defines deep work as the ability to focus completely on a mentally demanding task without distraction. During these periods, we create our best ideas, solve our hardest problems, and produce work that truly matters. The opposite is shallow work. Checking emails, attending unnecessary meetings, scrolling through social media, replying to messages all day. These activities make us feel busy, but they rarely create lasting value. Imagine spending 10 hours answering emails. At the end of the day, you may feel exhausted, but what have you actually built? Now imagine spending just 3 uninterrupted hours writing a chapter, designing a product, learning a difficult skill, or solving a complex problem. The difference is enormous. One creates motion, the other creates progress, and that distinction may determine your future. Deep work is rare. Imagine walking into a modern office. No walls, no private rooms, hundreds of people sitting together, phones ringing, notifications constantly appearing, people stopping by desks, Someone asks a quick question. Another coworker starts a conversation. Slack messages appear. Emails arrive every few minutes. Meetings fill the calendar. By evening, everyone feels incredibly busy. But surprisingly, very little meaningful work has been completed. This isn't an accident. It's how many organizations are designed today. Cal Newport explains that despite the growing value of deep work, many workplaces unintentionally reward constant connectivity instead. Open offices, instant messaging, and continuous communication often fragment attention rather than improve productivity. The illusion of productivity. Imagine two employees. The first spends all day answering emails, replies within minutes, attends every meeting, always appears available. Everyone thinks, wow, they're so productive. Now imagine the second employee. Their office door stays closed, phone on silent, no social media, very few emails, for 4 uninterrupted hours. They're building an innovative product, writing software, designing a new strategy, solving difficult problems. Which employee creates more value? Most people know the answer. Yet, surprisingly, the first employee often receives more praise because visible busyness is easy to notice. Deep thinking usually happens quietly. Busyness has become a badge of honor. Years ago, people admired craftsmanship. Scientists, inventors, writers, artists, engineers. People were respected because they created meaningful work. Today, many people are admired simply because they're busy. I'm booked all week. I've had meetings since morning. My inbox has 500 unread emails. We wear exhaustion like a trophy. But being overwhelmed doesn't necessarily mean being productive. Imagine driving your car in circles all day. The engine works hard. Fuel is consumed. Hours pass, but you haven't reached your destination. Movement isn't the same as progress. Covey taught us something similar in the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Cal Newport simply applies that lesson to our attention. The myth of multitasking. Many people proudly say, I'm great at multitasking. Science tells a different story. Imagine reading a book. Every 30 seconds, someone changes the page, then asks you to answer a text, then asks you another question, then tells you to check your email. Could you truly understand the book? Of course not. Your brain doesn't actually multitask. It switches rapidly between tasks, and every switch carries a cost. Cal Newport calls this attention residue. Imagine leaving one room before you've finished cleaning it. A part of your attention stays behind. Now you enter another room, but your mind is still thinking about the first. Each time you switch tasks, part of your focus remains stuck on what you just left. Eventually, your attention becomes fragmented. You feel mentally tired, even if you've done very little meaningful work. Why social media feels so powerful. Imagine opening your phone just to check one message. 5 minutes later, you're watching unrelated videos, reading comments, scrolling endlessly. Then suddenly, 25 minutes have disappeared. You never planned to waste that time. Yet it happened. Why? Because these platforms compete for one thing: your attention. Every notification, every recommendation, every endless feed has been carefully designed to keep you engaged. Cal Newport isn't saying technology is bad. He's asking us to become intentional. Instead of allowing technology to control our attention, we should decide when, why, and how we use it. The question isn't, is this app entertaining? The better question is, does this tool meaningfully improve my life? Open offices, collaboration, or distraction. Open offices became popular because companies believed they encouraged teamwork. More conversations, more creativity, more innovation. It sounds reasonable, but imagine trying to solve a complex mathematical problem. While people constantly walk past your desk, someone laughs nearby, a phone rings, another conversation begins. Could you maintain deep concentration? Probably not. Cal Newport points out that while open offices can encourage collaboration, they also create frequent interruptions that make sustained focus much harder. Research on attention shows that even brief interruptions can significantly increase the total time needed to complete demanding tasks. Great ideas rarely emerge from constant interruption. They usually emerge from uninterrupted thought. The culture of immediate responses. Think about how quickly people expect replies today. Email, instant messaging, social media. Everything feels urgent. If someone doesn't respond within an hour, people become anxious. But here's an interesting question. Is everything actually urgent? Or have we simply trained ourselves to believe it is? Imagine Leonardo da Vinci, Isaac Newton, Marie Curie, Albert Einstein. Would they have produced history-changing work if they checked notifications every 5 minutes? Probably not. Extraordinary ideas require uninterrupted time, not constant availability. The craftsman mindset. Cal Newport introduces a refreshing way of thinking about work. Instead of asking, "What can this job give me?" ask, "What valuable skills can I build?" Imagine two young programmers. The first spends every day checking social media, reading tech news, jumping between projects. The second spends 2 uninterrupted hours every day mastering programming. Who becomes exceptional after 5 years? Talent matters, but focused practice matters much more. Deep work isn't simply about producing better work. It's about becoming a better person at what you do. Every hour of focused effort strengthens your ability to focus again tomorrow. Just as lifting weights strengthens muscles, deep work strengthens concentration. Attention is your greatest asset. Imagine someone gave you $1 million. Would you protect it? Of course. Now consider something even more valuable. Your attention. Money lost can often be earned again. Time lost cannot. Every notification costs attention. Every unnecessary interruption steals a little more of your life. The question isn't whether distractions are expensive. The question is, do we even realize what they're costing us? A reflection. Take a moment to think about yesterday. How many hours did you spend creating something meaningful? And how many hours disappeared into messages, notifications, emails, scrolling, or unnecessary meetings? Don't judge yourself. Simply notice. Awareness is the first step toward change. The lesson to remember. Cal Newport reminds us that distraction isn't merely an inconvenience. It has become one of the greatest obstacles to excellence. The modern world constantly rewards responsiveness, but history rewards creators, inventors, writers, scientists, entrepreneurs, artists, builders. The people who change the world are rarely the ones who answer the fastest. They are the ones who think the deepest. The new economy rewards focus. Imagine two graduates entering the workforce. Both are equally intelligent. Both work equally hard. Both have similar qualifications. 5 years later, one has become an industry expert. They're leading important projects, receiving promotions, being offered better opportunities. The other, despite working just as many hours, feels stuck. What created the difference? Not luck, not talent, not even experience. The difference was how they used their attention. One spent years developing valuable skills through focused practice. The other spent years reacting to emails, meetings, and distractions. The hours looked similar. The outcomes were completely different. Learning difficult things is the new competitive advantage. Think about the world today. Technology changes every year. Artificial intelligence evolves constantly. Programming languages appear and disappear. New tools replace old ones. The people who succeed aren't necessarily those who already know everything. They are the ones who can learn quickly. But learning something difficult requires concentration. Imagine trying to learn a new language while checking Instagram every few minutes, or mastering coding while replying to messages every 30 seconds. Real learning demands uninterrupted attention. Cal Newport explains that one of the greatest benefits of deep work is the ability to rapidly master hard things, a skill that has become essential in today's knowledge economy. The story of the violinist. Imagine a young violin player. Every day, she practices for 3 hours. Not casually, not while watching television, not while checking her phone. Every note receives complete attention. Months pass. Years pass. Eventually, people call her gifted, talented, naturally brilliant, but they rarely see what created that excellence. Thousands of hours of deep practice. The same principle applies everywhere. Doctors, engineers, athletes, designers, authors, musicians, entrepreneurs. Masters are rarely born. They are built, one focused hour at a time. Shallow work creates comfortable mediocrity. Imagine filling your entire day with easy tasks. Replying to emails, organizing files, attending meetings, updating spreadsheets, checking notifications. By evening, you've completed dozens of small tasks. But ask yourself, have you created anything valuable? Many people spend years trapped in shallow work because it feels productive. It's comfortable. It provides quick satisfaction. You can immediately check something off your list. Deep work feels different. It's difficult, mentally demanding, sometimes frustrating. Progress feels slow, but deep work creates results that shallow work never can. A research paper, a best-selling book, an innovative product, a successful business, a breakthrough idea. These don't emerge from constant distraction. They emerge from sustained focus. The craftsman's philosophy. Cal Newport encourages us to think like craftsmen. Imagine an old master carpenter. Every piece of wood receives careful attention. Every measurement matters. Every detail reflects pride in the work. The carpenter isn't rushing to finish. He's focused on creating something excellent. Now apply that mindset to your own life. Whether you're writing code, teaching students, designing buildings, running a business, or creating videos, Ask yourself, am I simply finishing tasks? Or am I creating something I'm proud of? Deep work transforms ordinary work into craftsmanship. Why talent isn't enough? Many people admire successful individuals and say they're naturally gifted. But Cal Newport reminds us that talent alone rarely explains excellence. Imagine two athletes. One has incredible natural ability, but rarely trains seriously. The other has average talent, but practices with intense focus every single day. Who succeeds after 10 years? Usually, the disciplined one. Focused effort compounds. Just like money, just like habits. Every session of deep work strengthens your ability to perform even better tomorrow. The law of compounding attention. We often hear about compound interest in finance. Invest a small amount consistently, and over time, the results become extraordinary. Attention works the same way. 1 hour of deep work today may not seem life-changing. Neither will tomorrow or next week. But imagine doing it every day for 5 years. Now compare yourself with someone who spent those same years constantly distracted. The gap becomes enormous, not because of intelligence, because of consistency. The myth of inspiration. Many people wait to feel motivated. They believe creativity appears like lightning. Suddenly, unexpectedly, Cal Newport challenges this idea. Professional creators don't wait for inspiration. They schedule focus. Writers sit down every day. Scientists conduct experiments every day. Artists create every day. Whether inspiration arrives or not, action comes first. Inspiration often follows. Imagine waiting until you feel like exercising or feel like studying. Progress would be rare. Deep workers build routines. They don't depend on moods. Protecting your most valuable hours. Think about your day. When does your mind feel the clearest? For some, it's early morning. For others, late at night. Those hours are precious. Imagine spending your sharpest mental hours answering emails. By the time you finally begin your important work, your energy is already gone. Cal Newport suggests protecting your best hours for your deepest work. Leave shallow tasks for later. Your calendar should reflect your priorities, not your distractions. The cost of constant switching. Imagine reading an exciting novel. Every 2 pages, someone closes the book, hands you another one, then another, then another. Would you enjoy any of them? Probably not. Life often feels exactly like that. We switch between emails, meetings, messages, projects, phone calls, notifications. The brain constantly pays a switching cost. Deep work eliminates those costs. Instead of scattering attention, it concentrates it. Like sunlight through a magnifying glass. Focused energy becomes powerful, becoming difficult to replace. Imagine 2 employees. One performs ordinary tasks anyone can learn within weeks. The other consistently solves difficult problems, creates innovative ideas, learns new technologies quickly, produces exceptional results. If a company faced difficult times, which employee would they fight to keep? The answer is obvious. Deep work helps you build rare and valuable skills. And rare skills create opportunity. They increase confidence, career security, income, freedom, not because you demand more, but because you contribute more. The real goal isn't productivity. Many people misunderstand this book. They think it's about getting more done. It isn't. It's about getting the right things done. Imagine writing one brilliant chapter instead of 50 meaningless emails, designing one outstanding product instead of attending 10 unnecessary meetings, creating one powerful video instead of spending hours refreshing analytics. Deep work shifts our attention from quantity to quality, and quality is what people remember. A reflection. Ask yourself one question. What is the single most valuable thing I could create if I had 2 completely uninterrupted hours every day? A book, a business, a new skill, a healthier body, a stronger relationship. Now imagine where you'd be 1 year from today if you protected those 2 hours every single day. The future often changes, one focused session at a time. The lesson to remember. Deep work is not merely another productivity technique. It is one of the greatest competitive advantages available in the modern world. Anyone can stay busy. Anyone can answer messages. Anyone can scroll endlessly. But very few people choose the harder path. To focus, to think deeply, to create work that matters. And that choice can completely transform a life. Rule 1: work deeply. Imagine preparing for the Olympics. Would an athlete randomly decide when to practice? Would they wake up and think, I'll train whenever I feel motivated today? Of course not. They follow a schedule, a routine, a system. They understand that greatness isn't built through occasional effort. It's built through consistent discipline. Cal Newport believes deep work should be treated exactly the same way. Don't wait until you feel focused. Create conditions that make focus inevitable. Willpower is limited. Many people believe success comes from strong willpower. I'll just force myself to focus. But think about your own experience. Have you ever promised yourself, I won't check my phone today, only to unlock it 5 minutes later? Willpower works, but only for a while. Imagine trying to hold a heavy suitcase. At first, it's easy. After an hours, your arms begin to ache. Willpower is similar. It becomes exhausted. That's why successful people don't rely only on self-control. They build environments that reduce temptation. Environment shapes behavior. Imagine walking into 2 different rooms. The first room contains a comfortable chair, a clean desk, a notebook, a glass of water. No television, no phone, no distractions. The second room contains 3 televisions, a gaming console, your mobile phone, social media notifications, people constantly talking. Where would it be easier to focus? The answer is obvious. Yet many people try to perform deep work in environments designed for distraction. Cal Newport says our environment silently shapes our behavior. If you want better focus, design a better workspace. Create a deep work ritual. Every high performer has rituals. A famous writer may begin every morning with coffee and an hour of uninterrupted writing. A musician may practice at exactly the same time every day. A successful entrepreneur might block 2 hours every morning for thinking. These rituals tell the brain something important. Now it's time to focus. Imagine entering the same quiet room every morning at 8 a.m. Same chair. Same notebook. Same playlist. Same cup of tea. After a few weeks, your brain begins associating that environment with concentration. Focus becomes easier. Not because you're stronger, because your brain recognizes the pattern. Decide before you begin. Imagine sitting down to work. Without a plan, within minutes, you wonder, what should I do first? Then another thought appears. I'll quickly check my email. Before long, your focus is gone. Deep workers avoid this problem. Before every session, they know exactly what they're going to accomplish. Instead of saying, I'll work, they say, I'll write 1,000 words. I'll solve this programming problem. I'll study Chapter 5. Specific goals create clear direction, and clear direction reduces distraction. The power of time blocking. Imagine opening your calendar. Instead of filling it only with meetings, you schedule something unusual. Deep work 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. No meetings. No phone. No emails. No interruptions. This simple act changes everything. Because if deep work isn't scheduled, shallow work will always fill the space. Emails never stop. Messages never stop. Meetings never stop. You must intentionally protect your focus. Cal Newport recommends blocking uninterrupted periods of time, specifically for deep work, rather than hoping focus will appear naturally. Treating these sessions as important appointments helps ensure they actually happen. Small beginnings matter. Many people become excited after reading books like this. Tomorrow, they decide to focus for 6 straight hours. By lunchtime, they are exhausted. Then they quit. Cal Newport encourages gradual improvement. Start with 30 minutes, then 45, then 1 hour, then 90 minutes. Focus is like a muscle. You don't build strength by lifting the heaviest weight on your first day. You build it through consistent training. Train your brain to resist distraction. Imagine you're walking through a shopping mall. Every store is calling for your attention. Bright lights, music, sales, advertisements. Your phone behaves the same way. Every notification whispers, "Look at me." The more often you obey, the stronger the habit becomes. Cal Newport suggests practicing the opposite. When you feel the urge to check your phone, wait just a little. Notice the feeling. Allow it to pass. Each time you resist, you're strengthening your ability to concentrate. Your attention becomes more disciplined, like an athlete training every day. Boredom is your friend. Here's an idea that surprises many readers. Cal Newport says boredom is valuable. Think about childhood. Long car rides, waiting rooms, quiet afternoons. Those moments felt boring, but they also encouraged imagination. Today, the moment boredom appears, we immediately reach for our phones. Standing in line, phone. Waiting for coffee, phone. 5 free minutes, phone. We've trained our brains to expect constant stimulation. The result: silence begins to feel uncomfortable. Deep work requires the opposite: the ability to sit quietly with difficult problems, without immediately escaping. Learning to tolerate boredom is actually training for focus. Quit at the right time. This may sound strange. Cal Newport encourages people to stop working at a reasonable hour. Why? Because recovery improves performance. Imagine a professional athlete. Would they train 20 hours every day? No. Recovery builds strength. The same is true for the brain. Sleep, relaxation, walking, spending time with loved ones. These activities aren't wasting time. They're preparing your mind for tomorrow's deep work. A tired brain struggles to think deeply. A rested brain creates breakthroughs. Quality over hours. Many people measure success by the number of hours they work. Cal Newport asks us to measure something different: the quality of our attention. Imagine two people. One works 12 distracted hours. The other works 4 deeply focused hours. Who creates better results? Often, the second person. Deep work isn't about working longer. It's about making every minute count. The stone sculptor. Imagine watching a sculptor carve a giant stone. Each strike of the hammer seems insignificant. Nothing changes. Visitors become impatient. Why isn't the statue appearing? But the sculptor smiles. He knows every careful strike matters. Eventually, the masterpiece emerges. Deep work feels exactly the same. One focused session rarely changes your life. Neither does the second or the third. But after hundreds of sessions, people begin seeing your success. They admire the statue. They never witnessed the thousands of careful strikes that created it. A reflection. Think about tomorrow. Could you protect just one uninterrupted hour? No phone, no emails, no notifications. 1 hour devoted entirely to your most important work. Imagine repeating that every weekday. That's over 250 hours of deep work each year. Those hours could change your career. Write a book, launch a business, master a skill, or completely transform your future. The lesson to remember: deep work doesn't happen by accident. It happens by design. Extraordinary people aren't simply better at focusing. They're better at protecting their focus. They create routines, control their environment, schedule what matters, and treat their attention as one of their most valuable assets. Because every hour spent in deep work is an investment in the person you're becoming. Rule 2: embrace boredom. Imagine standing in a supermarket queue. 10 years ago, people simply waited. Some looked around. Some observed people. Some reflected on their day. Today, almost everyone reaches for their phone. 30 seconds of waiting feels unbearable. Something interesting has happened. We've forgotten how to be alone with our thoughts. Cal Newport says this is one of the biggest reasons deep work feels difficult. Our brains have become addicted to constant stimulation. The brain loves easy rewards. Think about social media. One swipe, new content. Another swipe, another reward. A funny video, an interesting picture, a message, a notification. Your brain receives tiny bursts of pleasure again and again. Now compare that with reading a difficult book or solving a complex problem. The rewards come slowly. Your brain naturally wants the easier option. But here's the problem. If you constantly train your brain to seek instant rewards, it becomes harder to stay focused on meaningful work. Practice doing nothing. This sounds strange, but try this experiment. Tomorrow, sit quietly for 10 minutes. No phone, no music, no television, no podcast. Simply sit. Notice how quickly your mind asks for stimulation. You may feel uncomfortable, restless, even anxious. That's not failure. It's evidence of how dependent we've become on constant input. The more comfortable you become with silence, the stronger your ability to concentrate becomes. Boredom builds creativity. Have you ever noticed where your best ideas appear? While taking a shower, walking alone, driving, looking out of a window. Rarely do breakthrough ideas appear while endlessly scrolling social media. Why? Because creativity needs space. When the brain isn't constantly consuming information, it begins connecting ideas, finding patterns, generating solutions. Silence creates creativity. Distraction consumes it. Rule 3: quit social media or use it wisely. Cal Newport doesn't argue that social media is evil. Instead, he asks a much smarter question. Does this tool genuinely improve your life? Imagine owning a toolbox. Inside are 50 different tools. Would you carry all 50 everywhere you go, just because they might be useful one day? Of course not. You'd choose the few that truly help. Technology should work the same way. Instead of asking, "What if I miss something?" ask, "What is this helping me accomplish?" If the answer is very little, perhaps it deserves far less of your attention. The cost nobody calculates. Social media is free. But is it really? Imagine spending 1 hour every day scrolling. That sounds harmless. Now multiply it. 7 hours every week. 30 hours every month. More than 360 hours every year. That's the equivalent of over 15 full days. Imagine what you could accomplish with 15 extra days every year. Learn a language. Read 20 books. Build a business. Exercise consistently. Spend meaningful time with your family. Time is always being invested. The only question is, where? Choose deliberately. Imagine two photographers. One buys every new camera released. The other masters one camera completely. Who produces better photographs? Usually, the second. Life isn't improved by owning more tools. It's improved by mastering the right ones. The same applies to technology. Choose deliberately. Use intentionally. Don't let technology choose for you. Rule 4: drain the shallows. Now Cal Newport introduces one final idea. Not every task deserves equal attention. Imagine your day as a large glass jar. Beside it, you have large rocks, small stones, and sand. If you pour the sand first, there's no room left for the rocks. But if you place the rocks first, everything else fits around them. Deep work is your rocks. Emails, meetings, administrative tasks. Those are the sand. The mistake many people make is filling their entire day with sand. Ask one powerful question. Whenever a task appears, ask yourself, does this create long-term value? Or does it simply make me feel busy? That single question changes everything, because many tasks feel urgent, without actually being important. Deep workers constantly protect the work that truly matters. Say no more often. One of the hardest skills in life is saying no. We fear disappointing people, missing opportunities, appearing rude. So we say yes to meetings, projects, requests, phone calls. Eventually, our calendar becomes full, but our life feels empty. Every yes is also a no. Say yes to unnecessary meetings. You're saying no to focused work. Say yes to endless scrolling. You're saying no to learning. Say yes to distractions. You're saying no to your future. Successful people understand this. They don't protect their time because they are selfish. They protect it because they know it creates their greatest contribution. The story of the lighthouse. Imagine standing on a rocky coastline during a violent storm. Ships are surrounded by darkness. Powerful waves crash against the shore. The only thing guiding sailors safely home is a lighthouse. The lighthouse never chases the ships. It simply stands firm, focused, steady, reliable. Your attention should become like that lighthouse. Instead of allowing every distraction to pull you away, stay rooted in what matters. Eventually, your consistent focus becomes your greatest strength. The biggest myth about success. Many people believe successful people have more time. They don't. Everyone receives the same 24 hours. The difference is how those hours are protected. Some people spend their lives reacting. Others spend their lives creating. One path leads to exhaustion. The other leads to impact. Imagine your future. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine yourself 5 years from today. Version 1. You continue exactly as you are now. Checking notifications every few minutes. Jumping between tasks. Never truly focusing. Where does that path lead? Now imagine another version. Every weekday, you protect 2 hours. No distractions. No interruptions. Just deep work. 5 years later, you've mastered valuable skills, built meaningful projects, earned respect, created opportunities. The difference between those two futures isn't intelligence, it's attention. Let's step back and look at the complete picture. Cal Newport teaches us that deep work is becoming increasingly rare, yet increasingly valuable. Distractions quietly steal our potential. Focus is a skill that can be trained. Great work requires rituals. Boredom strengthens concentration. Technology should serve us, not control us. Shallow work should never dominate our lives. These ideas are beautifully connected. Together, they create a philosophy for living intentionally. The biggest lesson of the book, the greatest message hidden inside deep work, isn't really about productivity. It's about living deliberately. Most people allow the world to decide how they spend their attention. Deep workers decide for themselves. They choose what deserves their focus. They choose what deserves their time. Because they understand something powerful. Your attention creates your life. Where your attention goes, your future follows. A final reflection. Imagine reaching the end of your life. Looking back, will you remember the emails, the notifications, the endless scrolling? Probably not. You'll remember what you created, the people you loved, the problems you solved, the books you wrote, the ideas you shared, the skills you mastered. Those things require attention, and attention requires intention. Final summary. Cal Newport reminds us that the greatest opportunities of the future belong to people who can do something that has become incredibly rare. Focus. Not for 5 minutes, not until the next notification arrives, but deeply, completely, without distraction, in a world constantly competing for your attention. Protecting your mind becomes an act of courage. Every uninterrupted hour is an investment. Every focused session builds mastery. Every distraction you resist strengthens your future. Because success isn't built one notification at a time. It's built one focused hour at a time. You don't need to become extraordinary overnight. Simply choose one important task. Protect your attention. Show up consistently. Repeat tomorrow. Then the next day. Over time, those ordinary moments of deep work become an extraordinary life. Thank you for joining me on this journey through Deep Work by Cal Newport. If this summary inspired you, remember that reading about focus is only the beginning. The real transformation begins the moment you put your phone aside. Close unnecessary tabs. Take a deep breath and give your full attention to what truly matters. Because in the end, your greatest work, your greatest ideas, and perhaps even your greatest life will always be found on the other side of deep focus. Welcome to the Wisdom Library, where the world's greatest books become powerful ideas for a better life.